Welcome to Giant Cocktails, a podcast where two lifelong fans talk about the San Francisco Giants while drinking homemade cocktails. Now, here are your hosts, Ben and Matthew Henry.
Welcome to another episode of Giant Cocktails. I am your host, Ben Henry, alongside my brother, the capricious Matthew Henry. How you doing, Matthew?
I'm not sure. Capricious. I don't know exactly what that means. I will tell you though that sometimes I'm like really in a good mood, and sometimes I'm really in a bad mood, and I blame the Giants.
Well, sir, capricious means likely to change frequently, suddenly, or unexpectedly. Like the San Francisco Giants.
That's what I thought. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Like you never know what you're going to get. You know they're just going to frustrate you one way or another. Just when you think they're good, they prove that they're bad. And just when you think they're bad, they prove to you that they are, well, homeostatic, which we know means 2 games under 500. So, not good. I mean, just a little off. You know, they're just a little off.
Yeah. Well, I was all ready to have Olympic cocktails, debut this week.
Yeah.
And then they go ahead and sweep the Rockies, and now I'm like, we're right back in it, Ben.
I know. And it saved us because I don't have to be talking about dressage. Although I will tell you this, Matthew, I was watching dressage the other night. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you know this, but dressage is the event where they ride the horse.
All fancy. Yeah.
It's not even running. It like walks and it goes and it does little prancy steps and it goes backwards and forwards. And while I'm watching this, the announcer is telling me the injuries that the rider has had.
Wait, what?
And
the rider had the injuries? Not the horse?
Yeah, the rider had the injuries. Well, Matthew, I don't know if you know this, but they're riding a living animal.
I do know that.
That is like the size of
But they're just riding it. They're just sitting on top of it. How do you get injured doing that?
I don't know, but let me tell you the injuries that they told me this man had. They had broken both legs twice. He'd broken both wrists twice. He had broken his ribs. He had a severe concussion. Most of that happened in March. Then, also in his lifetime, he had split his liver and been kicked in the face by a horse and needed facial reconstruction surgery, and he got thyroid cancer. I don't think that was related, but they thought they just might as well throw it on top, Matthew, all on top of a little prancing horse.
Wow.
Now I think these prancing horses are like triathletes or something, and they also do another event called cross country. And I think that's where all of these injuries come from.
Oh, that's the one where they jump hedges and stuff.
Yeah, they jump hedges and they're riding out on this big, huge course. Mm-hmm. And that, Matthew, is what we could have been talking about for the rest of today. But no. Nay.
The Giants had to go and sweep the Rockies.
Had to go and sweep the Rockies. Go and do the very easy thing to do. I mean, sweeping any team in baseball is hard, but if you're going to do it, it's going to be against the Rockies.
But I think do we get bonus points for sweeping 4 games in 3 days?
I think we should. That should count for at least half a game.
I agree. I'm petitioning the front office or the MLB for that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm penciling that in. The Giants are a game and a half under 500.
All right.
They got extra half a win for that. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Here we are, Matthew. Our last episode was all doom and gloom, and now in this episode, we're like, I don't know. But it does put the Giants in a very interesting situation. The trade deadline is just 3 days away. You had to think that this was what Farhan Zaidi was waiting for. This moment, after having played a underperforming Dodgers team, a Dodgers team that's hurting, and then for 4 games, and then 7 games against the Rockies. Like, surely by this time you would know where you stand and what to do. I'm not sure. I think we know where we stand. I don't think anybody knows what to do. Least of all Farhan Zaidi. But that leads me to my icebreaker question for today, sir.
Okay.
Are you damned if you do or damned if you don't?
On the one hand, if you do and things go well, then you're a hero. And if you don't do anything and things go terrible, then you're a goat. I'm going to go with both.
Good. Okay, you are damned if you do and you are damned if you don't. So either way, you are damned.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. We are in agreement. As a cynic, I fully agree. You are always damned.
Well,
Doesn't matter.
Especially the San Francisco Giants. I mean, there's...
Yeah, especially San Francisco Giants. Especially the 2024 San Francisco
Because,
Giants.
this whole season we've been damned because he did, right? I mean,
That's right.
Farhan went out and got all the players, and I'll be damned. Well, they haven't played well.
He finally did what everybody wanted him to be doing all along, and he was damned. Yeah. Well, anyway, today is Sunday, July 28th, as we record this podcast. Your San Francisco Giants went 5-3 last week. They won. They played 8 games in 7 days, and that wasn't even to fix a rainout. They had a good old-fashioned double header. Anyway, they went 5-3 during the week to bring their record back to homeostasis, a place I thought they would never see again. 2 games under 500, 53-55. They went 1-3 against the embattled, but still better than the Giants, Los Angeles Corpos, the team that Major League Baseball really wants you to like, but yet nobody really does. Then they went 4-0 against the Colorado Rockies in 3 days. Matthew, they won the opener and the nightcap of a doubleheader, which is highly unusual.
Yeah.
But then not only that, they won the day before and the day after. And they did it every which way but loose. They had a monumental, one of the greatest pitching performances we have ever seen. They had their 22-year-old phenom who started the season in Double-A. They did a good old-fashioned San Francisco Giants bullpen game. And the greatest home run hitter since Barry Bonds kept doing his thing. Yes, that's right. The mighty Tyler Fitzgerald. And so after all of that excitement, Matthew, post All-Star break, the San Francisco Giants are 6-5, and they are still in 4th place in the National League West, 10.5 games behind the Los Angeles Dodgers, and more importantly, 3.5 games back in the wild card race for the 3rd wild card with 4 teams to pass. I think half a game worse than they were going into the All-Star break. So that really brings us to a very, very confusing situation, Matthew. We don't know what to do. We don't know what Farhan should do. Do we buy or do we sell? And yes, I know there's a third option, which is probably what Farhan is going to do because he's going to sit on the pot for so long. His legs are going to fall asleep, and then he's going to try to stand up and do something, but he's going to fall over. Don't sit on the toilet too long, folks. Especially you guys getting a little older in age. It's not good for you. But anyway, And that's what we're going to be talking about today, Matthew. Not dressage and splitting your liver, and also not sitting on the toilet too long, but whether or not the Giants should buy or sell. And then later in the show, because yes, we are actually at the end of the 4th month of baseball. The Giants have now played, 105 games? Is that right? They're 53 and 55. So no, that's not right. 108 games, which is evenly divisible by 27, Matthew. It's time for us to revisit the MVPs, the unsung heroes, and the most improved. So we're going to do that at the end of the show, possibly in lightning round fashion, because we're going to talk about this buy and sell thing for a long time. But before we do any of that, it's time for the trivia question, Matthew. Hit it.
Okay. Well, in possibly Blake Snell's last start as a San Francisco Giant, he struck out 15 batters in 6 innings. Which is impressive because that is the least amount of innings that any pitcher in Major League history has struck out 15 batters. So you saw history there, folks. That was pretty great. But I started looking, and there were about 5 other pitchers that have also struck out 15. The usual names, Lincecum and and all them. But then I was like, well, what's the next rung down? And it turns out that one San Francisco Giant struck out 14 batters twice in one season. Who is that player?
Twice in one season, you say?
That's what I say.
John Burkett.
Oh, that's a good name. I like how you just pulled that out. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
all right.
When in doubt, go back to 1993.
That's right. All right. Well, we'll find out how wrong Ben is at the end of the episode.
What? Okay. Look, you know what? The man has bowled a perfect game.
He has bowled a perfect game. You're right. So, all right.
Yeah.
Isn't it time for the booze, boys?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, it is, Bob.
What are you drinking, Matthew?
Well, Bob, I am on assignment. I came down to I am sitting in the very room that both Ben and I once had as a bedroom in our childhood home, and our mother, not a big drinker, and so I had to import some easy cocktail fixins, and so I quickly looked through my book of recipes and I found one called the Chatham. The Chatham has 2 ounces of gin. The original recipe called for a 1/2 ounce of ginger liqueur and a 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. Folks, that was a wimpy drink. So I upped the ginger liqueur to 1 ounce. Okay, 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of ginger liqueur, 1/2 ounce of lemon juice, and it's a passable cocktail. Is it one of our best? No, but if you're looking to throw something together real quick and just want to have a nice, easy cocktail, give the Chatham a shot. All right. So that's what I'm drinking today, Bob. Oh, I'm sorry. You put all those ingredients into a shaker with ice, give it a good shake for 10 to 12 seconds, double strain that into a coupe glass. And, if you want to garnish it with a lemon peel, that's fine. But really, it's not that fancy of a cocktail. So that's what I'm drinking, the Chatham.
That's a tasty cocktail.
It's okay, Bob. It's okay.
What are you drinking, Ben?
Well, thank you for asking, Bob. That's very kind of you. Today, Bob, I am also drinking a cocktail that leaves a little to be desired. I've been experimenting with all of the things that I have in my bar, and some things work and some things really don't. I think I know that where this one fails, and so I will mention that as I tell you the ingredients. But I am calling this one the Indecision in honor of trade deadline 2024 for the San Francisco Giants. What do we do? Indecision 2024, perhaps. What is in an Indecision? Well, it has 1.5 ounces of gin, 1/2 ounce of Benedictine, 1 ounce of ginger syrup, and 3/4 ounce of lime juice. And Matthew, I'm not going to lie, I'm not entirely sure that I haven't done this recipe before.
Okay.
But if I did, I liked it better than I do now. And the problem with this one is I always forget that Benedictine, even though it's 40% alcohol, is sweet. And so this is too sweet. So I should have kicked up the lime juice and reduced the ginger syrup. But anyway, however you make it in terms of ratios, folks, you take all of those ingredients, you combine them in a shaker with ice, you shake it until chilled, and then you strain that into a stemmed cocktail glass. Yeah, it's a little too sweet, but it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. I mean, I really like adding the Benedictine to just shake things up and stuff. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I think if I did less sweetener, it would be significantly better.
Folks, Ben's going to fix the ratios in the show notes so that you guys have a little bit better experience than what Ben is bringing to the show tonight.
Right. And it's called the Indecision, so totally appropriate.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of indecision, buying or selling, Ben, and I'm glad that you and I just get to sit in our closets and kind of conjecture on whether the Giants should buy or sell, and that we're not the ones actually having to make that decision. Because I know Farhan gets compensated quite nicely to make these decisions, but man, this year, not an easy one.
This is a tough call. And I got to tell you, when we recorded our last episode, Matthew, it was on your birthday, Wednesday, July 24th. But we recorded it before they played that game that day.
Yeah.
And things were looking pretty bleak. And we had a dark episode. We did. And we thought for sure that this was selling. This was a selling team. But then they went out, and on your birthday, which I'm quite jealous about, by the way, because they always stink on my birthday. They got no hit on my birthday. Okay?
Not this year, but 1 year. Yeah.
Not this year, but 1 year. They played a really good game. And speaking of no hits, Robbie Ray made his debut. And I got to tell you, he was pretty not good in the first inning. That looked like it could have turned into like the exclamation point of 2024, right? Talking up Robbie Ray all this time. And then, he walks two guys and hits two guys to drive in a run in the first inning on 33 pitches. But after that, man.
Yeah, then he remembered he had a Cy Young on his shelf and decided he was going to pitch like one.
Yeah, he was lights out. And you know what? 15 strikeouts, blah, 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 man. You know what? He didn't give up any hits unlike somebody, Blake Snell. So, and then the Giants had their first big inning in what felt like 1,000 years.
Yeah.
It had really only been a month, Matthew. Okay, it had been 25 days. It had been 25 days since the Giants had scored more than 3 runs in an inning.
Wow.
And you might think, oh, maybe that's not very long. No, that's incredibly long, folks. Like, every team has a big inning every now and then, except the San Francisco Giants. But they did it that day on Matthew's birthday. And then you're like, okay, well, maybe this turns the corner. Because, that's the kind of pessimists us fans are. But then, no, they went back to sucking. They had a good performance. And then Tyler Rogers wait, what? Who was that just hit that home run?
Nick Ahmed.
You can't make this stuff up. Nick Ahmed?
Oh,
and then I was like, so that's the exclamation point on 2024. That's the moment that kills us. Is the Nick Ahmed home run. His second home run of the year, by the way, folks, in his 6th Dodger at-bat? How many at-bats did it take him to hit one for the Giants? Typical. But then, Matthew, nothing can make the rain clouds go away than like the Colorado Rockies. And so now here we are in this really strange situation. And we have all kinds of good reasons to buy, and we have all kinds of good reasons to sell. So, how should we do this? Do you want to take one side and then I'll take the other? Or do we want to...
Sure, no, I could do that. I'll play the optimist and that we should buy.
Oh, are you up for that?
I'm going to give it my best shot.
You've been having a hard time with that this year.
But I know I have, but I want to believe, Ben.
I know, that's why I feel like maybe you shouldn't. Okay, all right. If you're certain,
All right. All right.
But I'm a little worried because you said you didn't have all the alcohol you normally do, and how are you going to make the pain go away if you don't have enough alcohol?
Oh,
All right.
all right. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Okay.
All
So
right.
number one reason
Okay.
to buy is that we are finally getting like our full complement of starting pitchers that we thought we were going to get at the beginning of the year, and now we've got Logan Webb and Blake Snell and Robbie Ray and Kyle Harrison. We've got these guys now; they're all pitching well. And
Hayden Birdsong,
thank you. And so
Alex Cobb's going to be back.
yeah. Small detail that Hayden Birdsong's not actually on the roster, but we could, that's small detail.
He could come back soon.
Sure. If someone gets hurt,
but I know Alex Cobb's going to be back any moment. He's going to be back any moment. He's
going to stub his toe on a coffee table next week, Ben. He's just
yeah. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Cobb was delayed again for a blister.
Yeah.
A blister. But anyway, your point is well taken, Matthew. Yeah, like the pitching is coming together.
Yeah, so I feel like, this is the time to go all in, not to sell. Like this is what you've been waiting for. So why would you sell now? This is what you thought you were getting at the beginning of the season, and now you got it. You're only 3.5 games out. So it's not like you're like really far. Yes, you got to leapfrog some teams, but
they're that mythical one run away, that one good run.
Exactly. Yes. And so they've already won 4 in a row. They've
won 5 out of their last 6.
Exactly. So, they do that another week of that, and maybe they're right back in it. So I feel like that's a good reason to buy. They could be just a couple pieces away, Ben, from being a true contender. We've been weighed down by some guys that have kind of, that we counted on in the past but that aren't playing well. And those guys now are on the IL. We got Tyro Estrada on the IL. We got Wilmer Flores on the IL. We got Michael Conforto, who I'm pretty sure Farhan's going to do like a Tanya Harding on him like any day now. And so I think that if we just get like one more bat, and I think that we could be a contender. I think that could be it. And, the young guys continue to play well. I think that could be it. Another thing is they've got the easiest schedule remaining in the National League as of the break.
Right. Part of that has already passed because that included the Rockies.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, no, and they went 5-2 against the Rockies. So you're right. You're right.
Yep. So finally, I think that we actually have some prospects that we could trade. There has become a logjam at shortstop,
right,
or middle infield maybe, and so I feel like Tyler Fitzgerald has made Marco Luciano expendable, and so that could be there could be some you package Luciano and a Taylor Rogers or something. I don't know. You get somebody back, and I feel like there could be some ways to improve your team with the prospects we have. And so why not go all in? I mean, especially if you're on the hot seat and you need to win, you just do it. Just go all in. Cannonball.
Right.
Cannonball, Farhan. Let's do it.
Right. Because that's what we always want to believe. We always want to believe, and we always want to do. We always want to believe in ourselves. Nobody's going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself.
That's right. There's a poster somewhere that says that.
Right. Well, and nobody's going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself, Farhan, because nobody believes in you. But I do want to. You did say, is Luciano expendable? And you said Tyler Fitzgerald, and I'm with you on that. First of all, I would like to see Tyler Fitzgerald be. Well, first of all, I'd like to see Tyler Fitzgerald be this good for the rest of his career because that would be really cool.
It would be cool.
But I'd like to see if he could just be somewhat good for the rest of his career or for the rest of a season. So, I'd like to see him play enough games to actually play, show us what he's truly got. So, Bob Melvin, you got to keep playing him, unlike what you did with him in the first half of the season. The other thing is I will point out that one Brett Wisely, who you conveniently haven't mentioned yet, I don't know if he's swinging at the balls down in the zone, Matthew, or if he's no longer working the count, or if he's just regressing to the mean. But boy, he has really regressed to the mean in the last month. So I wouldn't quite say Luciano is expendable. However, he is tradable, and that could be next year's problem because you're trying to win a championship this year. So I get it. I'm totally with you. Also, Mason Black, Carson Wisenhunt, they're down there. They're still highly touted. You could make a few trades to get a package deal to maybe get that right-handed bat that I think you really need. So totally agree.
All right. That's my argument. That's my argument for buying. Right. What's your argument for selling?
First of all, Matthew, I'm going to point to the record. It is 53-55. Losing teams do not win the World Series. I believe that is a fact. This has never happened before. A team with a losing record in the regular season has not won the World Series. This team, as of today, after 4 full months of play, 2/3 of the season completely over, is 53-55, below 500. Okay, so that's my first point.
Okay.
I point to all of 2024 as Exhibit A. However, I will also point to the fact that, man, a lot of people are talking about the San Francisco Giants, Matthew. It's what we wanted in 2021, right? When they weren't getting any press and nobody believed that they were good, they're finally talking about the Giants. Now, granted,
the players that they think they're going to sell.
Yeah. Okay. Look. Any press is good press, all right? Look, just because they're talking about the Giants because they're bad and therefore they got... What I'm trying to say, Matthew, is they got people that people want. Some really highly toutable pieces that they could trade. And the first I want to talk about is, well, a name that's been mentioned for quite a bit is Camilo Doval. Now, I don't want to see Camilo go because he's my favorite player. Okay? And we're not getting Jazz because he went to Yankee land.
Yeah.
Sad about that. I'm so sad. What a horrible thing to happen to such a good young man. He's a Yankee now. I feel for him.
Don't cry. Don't cry.
I hope the evil power doesn't take him over.
There are children listening, Ben. You don't need to cry. There are children listening.
Oh, I hear that they laugh at me when I cry. That's what I hear what the kids say. The kids laugh when Ben cries. Anyway, so Camilo Doval, right? And Mike Yastrzemski. I've seen his name a lot. His name is starting to appear in a lot of articles, right?
That's because teams want good baseball players, Ben.
That's right. They want good, intelligent baseball players who are going to make your team better on the bench, in the clubhouse, and on the field. And that's what Mike Yastrzemski does. And I think diminishing returns there, right? Like, get something out of him now while you can, because he could be a non-tender next year, right?
Right.
And then you'll get nothing when he walks. Then there is one Michael Conforto. This one I don't understand. But folks, if anybody will give you anything for Michael Conforto, you take it and you say no refunds, and then you slam the door shut and then you run. You run.
It's like a Jaguar, Ben. Jaguar, people think that Jaguars are a really great car and they get like really excited when someone has a Jaguar. But what they don't see is how often that Jaguar is in the garage. Right. And
yeah,
so I feel like people are excited about Conforto because he was really good once.
Yeah, he was really good once 4 years ago. He was a little bit good in March and April. He was pretty good. He hit 403 in March and April. And everybody looks at his yearly stats and they're like, wow, these are kind of okay. They're kind of okay because he had a really good March and April. He was okay in May, but he was hurt for half of May. Every other of the months since then, June and July, he's been awful. He's been atrocious for the last 7 games, for the last 15 games, for the last 30 games, for the last 2 months. Conforto has been awful. So if somebody's going to give you anything for him, you take it. Okay, but then I saved the best for last. I don't know if you know this, Matthew, but the Giants have the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner on their team.
They do?
Yeah. We don't. It's hard for us to remember because we called him the pitcher who shall not be named. We once did an episode titled, "This is the last time that we're going to talk about this person."
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then he struck out 15 people in 6 innings for his third great outing in a row. And suddenly everybody's talking about Blake Snell. And the Dodgers are, the Dodgers are fantasizing, but the Padres have lined up. The Cubs have lined up. Everybody's like calling Farhan and being like, hey, I want to trade for Blake Snell. I want to trade for Blake Snell. I feel like the Giants could actually turn that into a real, true, good prospect. Like, not just a bunch of middling stuff.
Right.
But some real top-ranked, almost major league ready guys. And like all of these guys combined, if you trade all of them, you're going to get a huge haul. Which brings me to my next point, which is the farm system isn't looking so hot right now, Matthew. Farhan and Kyle, they haven't been doing it. We need a reload. And yes, we probably need a new hobo. But we have no control over that. Because here's the thing. The Major League Baseball ready players in the farm system, they're already here, Matthew. Fitzgerald, Wisely, Miller, Walker. I mean, even Matos, and it's arguable that he's ready. They're already here. Birdsong. They're already here. Bailey. Okay. Quick check of who's doing well down in Sacramento. Matthew, who is the best starting pitcher for the Sacramento River Cats this year? Don't count Blake Snell.
I wouldn't even know.
Tony Romero. You know Tony.
Oh, Tony.
Yes, Tony Romero.
Romero.
The only starting pitcher with an ERA in the 3s. What about Mason Black and Carson Whisenhunt, you might ask?
I am asking. What about that?
No, they're not good, Matthew. They're not good. They have not been good. They've been twice as good as Kai Tang, I will tell you that.
That's not saying a whole lot, though.
But no, that's not saying a whole lot. That's not. They have not been good. It has been a works in progress, I think you might say. So, tradable as prospects, but not ready to come pitch in the major leagues. And possibly, maybe never going to pan out at all. So,
Bite your tongue.
And on the position player side, there is only one guy down there that I think is ready. And that is the man whose first name I cannot say, but I'm going to try. Gerard Encarnacion. He's the only interesting position player that the Giants have left, and they signed him midway through this season from the Mexican League. Now, they can barely take credit for that. The farm system is empty. What about Grant McCrae? What about Vaughn Brown? What about Hunter Bishop? What about all of the other young guys? Well, they're young. They're years away. And some of those guys are never going to make it. Wade Meckler, I guess, is the only other guy. But he's just coming off of an injury. You were ready to promote him after one game, and you think that he will be back. But more important than this, Matthew, is it's too little too late. A 4-game sweep of the Rockies does not a season make. And yes, they do have the schedule, the easiest schedule remaining. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call in a good friend of mine who did some excellent research to counteract your silly little argument about the weakest schedule. Okay, here we go.
You call him in.
Matthew, would you like to tell us the research that you did about that easy schedule?
I see how it is. Using my research against me. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Why not? I'm savvy.
Okay. Well, I will talk a little bit about this because I got curious. I've been hearing how we had the easiest schedule after the All-Star break. And you're right. The Rockies contributed a lot to that. But then I started looking. So I broke it down by month. And the last 2 games in July against Oakland and then all of August, the Giants' opponents have a combined record of 433 and 522, which equals a 453 winning percentage. All right. Which is roughly equivalent to the Washington Nationals.
Ooh, we're better than them. We're better than them.
So that would be like playing the Nationals the entire month of August.
Yes, and please.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
we're going to the playoffs. We're going to the playoffs.
Okay, well, not so fast. Not so fast, because in September,
Okay.
our opponents have a combined record of 284 and 234, which is a 548 winning percentage, which is the equivalent of playing the Braves for the entire month of September.
We're not going to the playoffs.
Okay. One other thing, though. One other thing that I just...
Okay.
So if you add August and September all together...
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So the overall record then becomes 717 wins and 756 losses, which is a 486 win percentage.
Oh.
Ben, the team that has a 486 win percentage is the San Francisco Giants. So the Giants are basically playing themselves for the last 2 months of the season. And I got to tell you, Ben, I don't like our chances.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, I think I understand. Let me break this down. You would think that if they're playing themselves, they would go 500, right? Because they should be equally good. Equally good. Yes. But this is the 2024 San Francisco Giants that we're talking about. So even they would find a way to not win.
Against themselves. Yes.
Against themselves. We're doomed. Yeah, no, this is not happening. This is not happening. And I rest my case.
All right. Fair enough.
Trade them all.
All right. So, who knows what's going to happen between now and Tuesday? But we will find out. I feel like, back in the day, Farhan was doing a little buying and a little selling.
Yeah,
I could see a little bit of that, a little buying, a little selling, and we'll see what transpires out of that.
Well, I have some thoughts about the outfield, especially, but I think we should get into that later because we got to get in. We'll get into it now as we talk about the MVPs and the unsung heroes because we got to do our 4-month check-in.
Yeah, a 4-month check-in. Normally, what we do is that we select an MVP from the previous month. Okay, so how did they do? And so in this case, the month of July. Right. And who are our MVPs? Ben, do you want to go first or shall I?
You go first.
Okay, well, I'm just going to take the obvious answer. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go with one Tyler Fitzgerald.
All right.
And granted, he hasn't played the whole month, but he has a better stats than pretty much everyone else for the time, even though he hasn't played as much. And where would the Giants be without Tyler Fitzgerald? And to our point earlier, he at least makes the team exciting and interesting. And so I'm going with Tyler Fitzgerald as an MVP of July.
All right. I like it. That's a good choice. That is a good choice. You know what? I made a lot of fun of this guy, but I got to give credit where credit is due. He hasn't pitched in a ton of games, but those games have been amazing. And I'm going to throw out Blake Snell for MVP. Yeah. All right.
Well, that
got another
makes
nominee?
sense. He's pitched. He's got I do have one more nominee because I think and this is a little bit of a dark horse nominee because I don't think he's on many people's radar, but he has been one of the best players from the month of July for the Giants, and that's Mike Yastrzemski, who has batted .323 with a .375 on base and a .538 slugging for the month of July. So I think that people haven't really seen that. Yeah, the power numbers quite haven't been as there, but he's also playing great defense. Mike Yastrzemski deserves some recognition as an MVP candidate for the month of July because he's basically turned his season around this month.
Yeah, I like it. He's making himself very tradable.
Oh, there's that.
Way to go, Blake. Way to go, Blake. Way to go, Mike. Blake has also done himself to make himself very tradable. You can tell, Matthew, I've really got selling on my mind.
You do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I am going to throw out one more name. As long as I can get Dark Horse. I'm going to put out Matt Chapman. Just
Chappie?
quiet. Yeah. He's hit 5 home runs. Still playing that great defense. Really turning it on as of late. Getting a lot of walks, getting on base, just doing all the things that Matt Chapman is supposed to do at Matt Chapman levels. So yeah, I'm throwing out Matt Chapman.
That's a good call. I'm looking at his numbers. You were right. He's got a 902 OPS for the month of July, 391 on base for the month of July. So I agreed. He's also played the most games out of any player on the team in the month of July. So yeah, good candidate. Good candidate. I agree. Matt Chapman deserves some love.
Yeah. All right.
Now, are we going to choose any of those, or are we just moving on?
Oh, yeah. You want to choose one? Yeah. We usually, I don't know when we do it. Let's just choose them now. Let's just do it now. Who's your MVP?
Well, it's got to be Tyler Fitzgerald, right?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to pick somebody else. It's Tyler Fitzgerald. I mean, there's no arguing that. I think I did something where I was like on Fangraphs and I was looking at the F War, the Fangraphs War, and he was like the 4th best player in WAR, which is a cumulative stat. Remember, right? The longer you play with the team, the bigger that number should get. It can go down. He was the 4th best position player for the season in F War.
Wow.
Basically off of what he's done this month. So yeah, I mean, clearly the MVP of July. There's nobody else.
Okay. All right. Next up, Unsung Heroes. Now, these are the guys that are like kind of flying below the radar, not MVP like status, but solid, good contributors where the Giants have really needed to be. Let's have you go first this time. What's your first unsung hero?
Well, I see the name that you put down here, who I think also he's gotten some pretty good numbers, but I'm all about Hayden Birdsong, so I'm going to put out Hayden Birdsong. I think, for a kid who got bounced down to single A, which was, I know that's not a real thing. He did. I mean, he really did. He really did get demoted down to single A, but that was just for roster reasons, not to anything to do with where he belongs in level. But then, comes back and pitches a great game against the Rockies on the second day of the doubleheader. But he also had a fantastic game in his previous start before that in Colorado, where he had one of the best games in terms of whiff rate of any Giants pitcher ever.
Yeah.
And then Blake Snell comes along, like less than a week later and one-ups him, but whatever. And so I think this guy has been way better than anybody could have hoped for. I just wish he had been here sooner. But Hayden Birdsong.
Okay, that's a good call. I like it. I'm going to go with someone that we've been a little bit of a punching bag for.
It has been a punching bag for us?
Yeah, for us. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is Jorge Soler.
Yeah, and that's, yeah.
I'm not the only one who thinks that. Bob, what do you think of Jorge Soler?
Jorge Soler is a bad man.
Finally. Yeah.
You know how long we've been waiting for Bob to say that?
Bob, you've had that one in the bag for a while, buddy. I think his numbers have been good enough to be an MVP, but I think because he's just been so understated for the rest of the season and not in a great way, unsung hero Jorge Soler.
Yeah, especially because
totally
they put him in the leadoff. He's got 3 home runs this month. I think all of them solo, but still, just 292 average, 400 on base from the leadoff spot. Just been a really good player. So I think he deserves some love because we've definitely beat up on him a little bit.
Agreed.
So far.
Agreed.
All right, one last one.
Okay.
And I'm just going to throw out this, it's a triumvirate of players. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I use that word right, but there's 3 of them. Okay. 3. All right. So
I think it's called a 3-way.
Ooh, this is a family show, Ben.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's wow. Sorry.
Sorry, Scott, if your son's listening. Okay. Anyway. So anyway, you threw me off here. Okay. All right. So the bullpen, has had some guys that have stepped up here, and I'm going to name 3 of them: Eric Miller, Randy Rodriguez, and Ryan Walker. All 3 for the month of July had really good months. And Ryan Walker might have had the best He's got a whip of 1.05 on the season. Randy Rodriguez is a whip of 0.91 for the month. I mean, just some crazy numbers. And so Eric Miller today, he's got a 1.03 with a 1.86 ERA over the last month. So I think that these guys have just kind of been quietly just eating innings and getting outs. And so I think they deserve some love. So I'm throwing them in there as well.
All right. I think those are all good choices. I because they're the bullpen, sure, I'll let you go as a single candidate. But if I had to pick one of these, Randy Rodriguez is my unsung hero. But I'm going to pick somebody else. I'm going to throw another name on the list.
Oh, okay.
Kyle Harrison. Kyle is 2-1 in the last 30 days with a 2.66 ERA in 4 games started, with a whip of 1.08 and an opponent's batting average of 164. And we haven't really heard a lot about him, right? He's been really, really good since he came back. But, there just hasn't been a lot of discussion about him. And I think he's gotten a little lost in the shuffle. So the perfect candidate for an unsung hero.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at his numbers. 11 hits in 20 innings, 20 and a third innings. Pretty damn good. So, yeah, good call. I like that. Okay. So now, Ben, we're getting into our most improved.
Wait, we have to pick somebody.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This one's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Hayden Birdsong.
You're going to go, you know what? I'm right there with you. I mean, I don't think yeah. I mean, this doesn't get more unsung than a kid who, he looks like he's 14 years old, Matthew. And I like it when I see him swaggering, especially when they got the shots of them when they're walking into the game beforehand and they're wearing their street clothes and he's just got his T-shirt and his blue jeans on. And I'm like, hey, look, that kid's going to gym. That high school kid's going to gym. I agree. He's a good story. It's a good story. Like it. Hayden Birdsong, agreed.
All right, now we got our most improved. And if you recall how we do this, listeners, last month we nominated some people for most improved.
Yep.
So we need to review who those were and to see which one of those stepped up and became the most improved for July. Okay?
That's right.
So Ben, do you want to name who those were?
Yes, I will remind you, the listeners, of who the nominees were from last month. And yes, this is a roundabout way for us having to You Sucked the Most award. And the people who we felt sucked the most in June were Bob Melvin, right? The honeymoon was over. We took the gloves off. We put Bob on the list. Tyro Estrada, Luke Jackson, and Michael Conforto. And now the idea is that we have to pick somebody from that list and call them the most improved. And I got to tell you, Matthew, once again, we find ourselves in this situation where this is not a great list. I mean, if I had to pick one, I'd be like Bob Melvin.
I think so. I'm going to give you one reason why.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Stolen bases, Ben. And prevention of stolen bases.
That is true.
So the Giants now in the last month are actually in the middle of the pack in stolen bases.
Yeah.
I think they were tied for 10th in July. And then, but there were a lot of teams tied for 10th. So they were not like, but anyway. And then they're picking off guys, and so obviously there was something said and done from the coaching perspective to improve in that area. And that, I think, was one of the reasons why we were nominating him in the first place. And so I feel like Bob Melvin did what he needed to do. He saw the problem and he corrected it. So he's most improved in my book.
Yeah, and made a big difference in the standings. No, I agree. Bob Melvin, if we're picking from that list. But I do want to remind you, we did nominate people from the previous month as well, and we gave that one last month. We said none of the above. And I just wanted to
go through those then?
Yeah, I want to mention some of those names because I think a couple of them, if they were the nominees this year, it would be hard to pick the winner.
Oh,
I mean, I guess it wouldn't be hard to pick the winner, but we would have two contenders.
Okay.
Those nominees were Blake Snell, Kyle Harrison, Marco Luciano, and Wilmer Flores.
Okay. Two of those are not like the others.
Two of those are not like the others. Like Marco is still down at AAA. Wilmer is back on the IL. But Blake Snell and Kyle Harrison, they are real contenders. But it took them a month too long to do it. So not eligible. But I just did want to mention that, some of those guys finally did turn things around.
Okay,
all right.
Okay.
But now it's time to nominate the next possible award winners for Most Improved.
So again, this is our nice way of saying you sucked in July. Here, let's see how you do in August.
Correct. I see you put a bunch of names on here, Matthew. I'm going to add one more.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's one that we should have put on there. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'm not going to say this name. Jeez. I'm just going to drag the names up. Like, I'm just...
All right. I'm going to put it out there. Camilo Duvall.
Shut up.
I'm not enjoying his outings. It seems like, as soon as he gets on there, there's a runner on base. I looked down from the computer today because I was watching the game on my computer, and then all of a sudden there was a runner on first. I had to go to game day and figure out like what happened because I didn't know that he gave up a hit right off the bat. Like I just was like, oh, of course he did. Of course he gave up a hit right off the bat. And so I just like, you expect your closer to be dominant, and he's been barely passable, and that's being kind. So my candidate for Most Improved is Camilo Duvall.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, you know what? In that case, I am going to nominate somebody else.
Just out of spite.
Yeah. You know what? And like, I went to bat for this guy, because he finally had me convinced. And what has he done to reward me? He's proved the old Ben right. Brett Wisely on the list for Most Improved. Why? Because he can't hit.
Yeah, he hit 208 for the month of July, last 30 games. So, yeah, that not doing it with the bat for sure. Still playing decent defense though.
Agreed. Yes, still playing decent defense, and his F WAR anyway is still above water for the last month or so. So, yeah.
All right. Well, here's one for me. Someone that maybe you don't think about, but someone that the Giants came to rely on a lot in the first third of the season, but really struggled this year or the last month is Sean Jelly.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been pretty for Sean Jelly. And so I feel like he could be one of the roster, casualties as they're kind of moving things around. He's got an 8.76 ERA in the last 10 games that he's been in. So just 23 hits in 12 and 2/3 innings, or 12 and a third innings. So just atrocious. So he's my nominee for Most Improved.
Yeah, unfortunately, just put on the bereavement list for personal reasons.
That's right. Yeah.
But maybe.
So we're callous bastards. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm not. I didn't nominate him. You did. All right. But speaking of punching bags, my nominee for this month is one Michael Conforto. Ooh, the big trade piece that everybody wants. Who, I'm sure his average has now improved a little bit because he had a good game, I think, today. But for the last 30 days, Michael Conforto has been, let me make sure this is right. Has a batting average of 206 and an on-base percentage of 341. The only saving grace is that when he does get a hit, it's a double or a home run. He's hit one home run in the last 30 days and 9 doubles to give him a slugging percentage of 382. But this is just one more month in a long string of months in which Michael Conforto has been not good. And let me just tell you what he has done for the season in terms of his splits. In the month of April and March, he had a OPS of 763, and an OPS plus of 117. In May, he was really good with a 186. Remember, above 100 is good, below 100 is bad. In June, he had a 49. And then in July, he had an 81. And, before today, his batting average for July was 172. His batting average for June was 143. Like, how is this guy tradable? How is he a big trade piece? I just don't get it. Yes, trade him, please.
All right. That is Ben's passionate candidate for most improved. I got one more for you. And I've come to appreciate this player and what he has done.
Yeah.
He drives me crazy because oftentimes he gives up these little dinky hits and things that just kind of in crucial moments. But hasn't been the problem for Tyler Rogers in the last month. The problem with Tyler Rogers in the last month is suddenly he's giving up the long ball.
Yeah.
He's given 3 home runs in 10 2/3 innings. He's got a 5.06 ERA over the last month. Just not the type of player that we're used to seeing. And so and he's a crucial part of the bullpen. And so I think he needs to step it up. So he's my final nominee for most improved.
One stat. He gave the home run to Nick Ahmed. And it was the game-winning
That
RBI.
alone should be that put him on the list.
It was the game-winning RBI in a game against the Dodgers. All of those are reasons enough to go on the list. Agreed. Okay.
All right, Ben.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did it. We did it.
All right. What do you say? Is it time for the trivia question answer?
I just want to say this because I didn't get a chance to say so. What I tell you this, Matthew, is it's time for the Giants to fix their outfield. Michael Conforto has to go. Who the heck is Derek Hill? Okay? I want Matos, Ramos, Gerard Encarnacion, and Wade Meckler. Everybody else should be gone and traded. I don't care if you're buying or selling. That's what I want. You got to fix this outfield. You're telling me that all of your vaunted player development gets us to the point where we have Derek Hill? Stop it. Okay, now we can go on to the trivia question. Thank you.
All right, good. Got that out of your system. You're good.
Yeah.
All right. So today's trivia question, if you recall, was what San Francisco Giant struck out 14 batters 2 times in one season? And that player was one Madison Bumgarner, who struck out 14 against the San Diego Padres on June 23rd, 2015, in a game that the Giants lost in 11 innings, I might add. And then 2 months later, on August 16th, struck out 14 Washington Nationals in a 5-0 Giants win. He actually pitched a 9-inning shutout that day, striking out 14. So those are the last that. So yeah. Madison Bumgarner is the answer to our trivia question.
All right. And I said John Burkett. Matthew, in July of 2022, John Burkett had the greatest achievement of his sports career, he said, when he won his first PBA 50 tour at the PBA 50 South Shore Classic in Hammond, Indiana, at Olympia Lanes.
Would have liked to see him and Mookie in their primes bowling against each other.
Well, I mean, do old bowlers get worse? I don't know. Maybe John Burkett?
I don't know.
I don't know. They both bowled perfect games. I do know that.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Well, looking ahead, Ben, we've got 2 games against the A's. And we got sandwiched around a couple days off.
Yeah.
Or in between a couple days off. Only 19 players in Major League history have played for only the A's and the Giants.
Oh.
But the notable players of those 19 were Kelly Downs, Santiago Casilla,
whoa,
and of course, Barry Zito.
Whoa.
So some good names there.
Whoa. Man.
Yeah.
Wow. World Series hero? I mean, it was a playoff hero.
Yes.
And then a playoff hero and World Series hero.
Yeah.
And then Kelly Downs.
Kelly Downs was just a serviceable pitcher for the Giants
Yeah.
when they weren't very good.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today. Don't forget to follow us on the socials at Giant Cocktails on Twitter and Instagram and Threads and Mastodon. Also YouTube, where you can see us go live, or not live, but when you can hear us on YouTube. You can also leave comments on YouTube if you'd like, which is great because Ben apparently checks that. And then you also don't forget to leave us a positive review on the podcast listener of your choice. It would really help us. Leave us a nice comment too. That would be great. Well, Ben, it's been great talking to you. We'll see you after the A's series. Hopefully we'll break down, I'm sure, how much trade action the Giants had then. Looking forward to it. Until then, my friend, cheers.
Cheers, Matthew. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Giant Cocktails Podcast. Until next time, bottoms up.
So sore. I ran 6 miles today, Ben. So sore.
Well, yeah. What did you learn?
I learned that I should train more.
What?
That,
No. The answer is not running more. The answer is running less.
Oh, I always forget that. That's an option. Oh, you know what I learned, though?
What?
In the middle of the race at the 3-mile marker, there was
What?
a guy handing out shots of tequila. And I saw him, and I thought, those are funny little glasses for water. Did not realize that he was doing tequila shots.
Did
and
you-
I missed it. So next year, though, man, I'm looking for that guy. I'm gonna bring my own
I would
lime
have
and salt.
circled back and then circled back and then circled back. And you know what? You could do that a few extra times if you're actually running, because you metabolize things much faster when you're running. You also get drunk faster.
You don't run faster, though, I'd imagine.
No, and in fact, if you did like 3 shots and then started running, you'd probably fall down pretty soon. So maybe it's not the best idea.
All right. We'll check in next year.
But since when do I do good ideas?
Never.
Never.